Brian here from quantlabs.net. I've been testing everything now, capabilities of Matlab, Coder, the oh, my brain's fried. Matlab, Coder, the GPU capabilities of Matlab, calling GPU, as well as Matlab compiler. Here's what I've got and what I've learned. I can verify that Matlab compiler pretty well supports a lot of the functionality in all of the Matlab toolboxes outside of the Matlab base functions, so that looks like an okay option. I've demoed that on a YouTube video. I've also now played with thinking, they advertised it originally that with Matlab you can use Matlab compiler, which will support GPU calls to your CUDA board or your GPU. When you run it in your C++ program, you get a runtime error. So I've shown that in a posting, in the runtime error. So it's virtually not compatible. The option to get around that is using a product called Matlab. It's not from MathWorks, but it's called Jacket from Accelerize. That will most likely be a very expensive product, so that's not an option for me. So here's the limitations that I have. I've got the Matlab coder, but I'm still limited on a lot of the functions that I can use within the toolboxes outside of the Matlab base functions. So that's one option, but as I said, I'm very limited. So if I keep a lot of the strategies and the functions that I use to go through the coder and not use a lot of the functions outside of the Matlab base, I should be okay. The other option I have is to use the Matlab compiler, but no GPU, which is fine. But I can still use Matlab for prototyping. And I've got the Matlab running, calling the GPU. So if that's the case, I can still prototype with the GPU and the CUDA, no problem. When it comes to actually identifying a strategy, I'm going to still either have to do one of two ways. Run it through the coder, Matlab coder, to get the C++, drop it into my platform, and then within the platform, the C++ platform, I have to translate that code from Matlab and make it compliant to the Matlab, nothing to do with Matlab, it was all in C++. So I take the Matlab coder, generated code, which becomes C++. So take that code base, that C++ generated code, and then somehow transform it to make it compliant with CUDA, the CUDA library. There's going to be a lot of hand coding in that, so that's kind of a painful way, but that is something I can play with. But I can confirm that the GPU can be called from within Matlab, and it's pretty good. I'll put up a video on that, but I just want to let people know that there's options, but severe limitations with whatever option you go. So just letting people know that. Over and out.